Welcome to Active Sports TV. You're now tuned in and rocking out with your host, Active. Wow! 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 Vergil player, listen. Why you had to do him so bad? Listen, Erickson Lubin. Mm, 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 Not gonna hold y'all at this point of the segment of the episode. This is where I give a shout out to the battalion, all of my subscribers, the Active Battalion, man. Salute to all y'all holding me down, keeping me motivated, keeping this boxing content explosive and engaging. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all motivate me on a daily basis. This channel is nothing without y'all. Appreciate y'all. New viewers that happen to stumble across this channel. Hope you stick around. Hopefully I deliver the goods. I know I will. You are where you're supposed to be, where we keep you highly entertained with this boxing content and other various sports content. So hit that thumbs up button, get familiar with the channel, subscribe. We about to cook. Kill the music. Boy, oh boy, Vergil. Listen here. If you in the know, you're a subscriber of the channel, you already know what's going on with that, Playboy. Killing that. Sorry for the interruption, but you already know I have not been singing high praises for Vergil Ortiz lately on this channel. Pretty much because I believe, like all other boxing fans, we got a strong stance when it comes to old Vergil, and he got to deliver more than what he's been delivering up until this point in his career. We waiting for Vergil to really catapult himself to superstardom. He got the country of Mexico behind him. He's an Mexican American, and he come out of Texas, one of the biggest states. You know what I mean? Boxing favorite states. You feel me? In all of the, U.S., you know what I mean? When it comes to the states, you know what I mean? Texas definitely hold it down. Definitely a big supporter of boxing. So, with all of those factors, leading towards Vergil Ortiz's favor, Golden Boy in his back, got his back, holding him down, pushing him and promoting him in the right way. We thought at 147 at the welterweight division, Vergil, you know what I mean, was going to be that guy that challenged Terrence Bud Crawford. Pound for pound, the number one fighter in this sport, the best of this era, Mr. Undisputed, Terrence Bud Crawford. Having a common opponent, Vergil Ortiz, one of his best outings in all of his career, from my opinion, versus Mean Machine, it was a back and forth action where we seen Vergil sense some adversity in the fight, overcame it, and flawless, well, I wouldn't say flawless, let me correct myself, but came back like a true warrior, showing that he got that grit, he got that grind that allows him to be considered one of the highly contenders, potential champions in the sport of boxing. So, along comes Jerron Boots Ennis, another sensation, someone who I'm highly disappointed with. I have the same gripes, some of the same issues. I mean, these guys, step with each other. I mean, they can't get right. Vergil, we know, have a lot more excuses, to pull out of the hat, you know what I mean, at the welterweight division. He had hand injuries, he had weight issues, he got very, very ill, which caused Vergil Ortiz to get to this point to where he's now at the 154 division and making noise. I mean, making noise. Israel Mondolov was one thing. Had a strong take, strong opinion on that. Go and check out the playlist. You'll go ahead and get my reaction on that. So, jumping right into that, seeing Vergil come at 154 and, get at Israel Mondolov, have his adversity again against Boyanchuk, who many would say Vergil lost that fight. I would say, it could have went either way depending on the styles and what you prefer, or a draw. When you can't decide in between, it's always in the middle with me. So I would have leaned towards the draw. Wouldn't have been mad at it, but definitely, I think Boychuk had a nice showing against Vergil Ortiz. But with all that being said, that may have been what Vergil needed. Listen here, this demonstration that he just put down on Erickson Lubin got me thinking totally different about old Vergil, bro. Listen, I was wrong. I'm sitting here saying Vergil Ortiz is this up and down fighter, predictable, you know, and pretty much a one style fighter, one way fighter. And that's far from the truth since he's been moved up to the 154 division. I gotta give him somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean, and say maybe the welterweight division was taking a lot out of Vergil, was holding Vergil back. I still believe that if it was possible for him to make that fight happen with Jerron Boots Ennis at welterweight, with both them not having that marquee fight or winning their titles in the ring, we gonna say email Boots. But when a title presents itself in the sport of boxing, you do what's necessary to get that opportunity. You take advantage of it, and you make sure you catapult your career from that point. Neither fighter chose to do so. For whatever reason, you got this camp over here saying this. You got Eddie and Matchroom. You know what I mean? Now promoting Boots. At first, it was Espinoza and Showtime, and it was always the Ring Around the Rosie game. You know what I mean? It seemed like the Duck Duck Goose action. Like I said earlier, it looked like Vergil was trying to skip steps at welterweight. Would really kind of piss me off with Vergil. Had me speaking in the tone I was speaking of, because I felt like, when you got a young, hungry lion, unproven, both you guys are the top contenders in the division is as far as Jerron Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz Jr. You make sure you handle business before you start screaming the names, calling out the names of Terrence Bud Crawford, you know what I mean? The Earl Spence Juniors at that time, the guys that actually put the work in, that was setting themselves up for their own marquee fight, doing with their due diligence to make sure they capitalize on their hard work. I mean, in order for you to build your stardom up, it isn't saying you got to beat the man to become the man, but you also got to be something to become something. And these guys have lost track of that. And you only can do so by elevating your competition and fighting those who many in the boxing world will say is have potential of knocking you off, showing that you are not the goods. So, you be that much more, of that you bring more to the table when presenting the fight to the unified champions, or the title holders at the time, as in Bud or Earl Spence Jr. But not to get sidetracked, these guys, for all of the reasons that boxing fans truly don't know, we getting this from Eddie, we getting that from Oscar with Golden Boy, and it moves on and it travels to the 154 division. Now we got some clarity, up until this date. Turkey Al-Sheikh came into the game. We got Rain Magazine putting on these showcase events, but we know Turkey ain't playing no tune-ups, no dancing around, no hiding behind corners with Turkey Al-Sheikh. We know Boots was presenting the fight at 154. For whatever reason, Vergil had to fall back to a tune-up. I don't know. I can't make no excuses for Boots. At the end of the day, when you get a bag that heavy, you do what you need to do to carry that off, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on. I know Philly, a lot of Philly cats, you know what I mean? A couple people stop by my channel. Salute to y'all subscribers. You know what I mean? All of them is not in support of that. Vergil saying that he taking on all opponents at 154 pounds. He's making a great showcase of himself. Like I said, putting the names on his resume. Israel Monologue is a name, someone you can take to the bank. You can say, listen, if you know he gave Terrence Bud Crawford issues and arguably one of his toughest fights outside of Mean Machine, then you got to give me that same kudos. And shout out to Vergil, shout out to Oscar De La Hoya for doing that. But get into the fight. As y'all notice, I spent a lot of time giving you praise about Vergil, the backstory on Vergil Ortiz's career and where I believe it is heading. You know what I mean? This fight, lackluster. Vergil Ortiz stomped him. It was everything great for Vergil and everything bad for Erickson Lubin. I'm disappointed, bro. What's going on, bro? You putting on a Severo, Erickson Lubin. You out here talking like you gonna do some, putting the 154 division back on the notice by shutting down these new arrivals to the division. I think you did a terrible, terrible, terrible job of selling that, champ. Listen, hang it up. Listen, it's done. Erickson Lubin is done. Vergil exposed you. He exposed you. I'm sorry, bro. This was your opportunity. You failed. You didn't just fail, because it's one thing to lose to a great fighter. You got demolished. You got destroyed. And in that fashion, it's hard to come back. And it seems like every marquee fight, every step up fight, every time you supposed to take that bag and just run off to the sunset, you know what I mean? Hold those titles over your head, letting everybody know that you run a division, you lose in drastic, devastating fashion, champ. First round knockout, Jamel. A brutal beating from Statue of Liberty himself, Sebastian Fundora. Better outing in the Fundora fight than Jamel. I mean, the first round, I think that it really don't get that worse, but it damn near came close with Vergil Ortiz, champ. It's sad. Second round knockout, I don't think Buddy got in one punch. I don't think he got in one punch fully. Not one. He should have been bobbing and weaving, but he succumbed to the onslaught of Vergil Ortiz. And like I said, Vergil was showing many things in the ring against Erickson Lubin. He was patient, working behind the jab, using feints, still being a bully, being aggressive. But there's not too much we can take from this fight outside of Vergil got that power at 154 pounds, and all of the opponents up there better be taking notice, man. Everybody in the 154 division, junior middleweight division, you better be on high alert, because you're gonna have to deal with Vergil. And when it comes to the stardom and him, running the division, he's already taking off with that right now. But I want to get into, what everybody was talking about. Let's get into this back and forth thing with Vergil. I got some of this audio I want to check out when old Boots, who's in attendance with Eddie Hearn, decided to challenge Vergil Ortiz, step in the ring. So for 1 second, y'all hold, and let's get this content going.
This money and make this fight. It does matter, because you said the word more talking. We're not gonna watch talking. Oh, we started talking after you guys started talking. It's retaliation. It's retaliation. You're talking all crazy. You're talking crazy at the time, and
the Bluebird is out.
Ain't nobody's up over here.
Boots gonna make me pay?
I guarantee you.
What Boots always making bets, bro? Y'all hype?
I don't make any promises you can't keep, bro. I'm gonna make every promise, and I'm gonna keep it straight like that. You're a great fighter. You look tremendous, But I'm gonna show the world I'm the best in the world. I got something for you. You got a yes for me? I got a yes.
Oh,
Is that
so that was the back and forth action in the ring. As you see, what Jerron Boots Ennis did to win over the Mexican fan base by helping Canelo spar for Terrence Bud Crawford didn't seem to play no factor and didn't give him no extra support out there in Texas. I think they was in Fort Worth. Oh yeah, they was Vergil 100%. So as we told you, old Boots, you jumping over that side, you trying to pander to that fan base. You will be used for what you allow yourself to be used for. I don't feel bad for you. I heard plenty of the boos, and rightfully so. That's they champ. That's the next one up. You ride with your boy. And then, as far as Boots, listen here, man. You have made it known in the boxing world what you about. You know, I'm gonna do a different episode on Boots. I'm not gonna take away from Vergil shine and spend too much time on Boots. I just know that everything around Vergil is surrounded by Boots, and whatever's surrounded by Boots is surrounded by Vergil. And these dudes is playing the stall game. They playing the same game that they played at 147. Are these guys serious? Let's check out some more audio. Then let's get Eddie Hearn was asked by Fight Hub. Shout out to Fight Hub. Is this fight really happening? Check it out.
We had a meeting a while ago with Boy and Design. We all agreed on the terms for the fight.
so? Oscar and
We got
Robert
many
all
people
say
saying
that
many
that's-
things.
You said like there was an agreement in place. They say quote unquote BS.
If you
I smell it. You smell. I smell it.
These would be the correct terms for the fight. I mean, Design were there as well. I'm not making it up. I'm not making an imaginary meeting. It's definitely not a contract. It's not. It doesn't mean stand by that.
Come on, Eddie. When Eddie get to fumbling like that, he
It's
reaches.
a very positive meeting. And in a way, and when we signed our extension, we signed for him to fight Vergil Ortiz on the terms that we discussed. Again, we can change those terms. I mean, but
The terms that he discussed, he's willing to change. I thought this was taking place 2026. Done deal.
Why do we need? Just come on, guys. Let's not start all that. Like, why do we need Vergil Ortiz? He doesn't have a belt. Just think he's the best 154-pounder in the world. We want to prove we're the best 154-pounder in the world, which we believe we are. Let's do it.
Now, that's any account of this meeting that transpired that Robert Garcia say flawed. Vergil Ortiz Senior, Vergil Ortiz, Senior said is flawed. Eddie is sitting out here telling lies. We know Oscar, he's getting on Eddie every chance that he get. I don't see this fight any closer than it ever was at 147 pounds as they move to 154 pounds. Listen, we all know if you're not talking to Turkey, you're not serious. Period. It's nothing that Eddie Hearn or Oscar De La Hoya can do to make this fight any bigger at this moment and get these fighters a bigger bag than what Turkey Al-Sheikh is now doing now with Netflix. And we all know Turkey, he got a boat of money. So listen, until these guys get serious, it's no need to sit here and be delusional about this fight. This fight is going to happen like on the old terms of boxing before Turkey Al-Sheikh got into this game. Promoters is going to play one side of the street. They're going to sit here and play who hasn't done this, who don't have that, who doesn't bring this to the table, who doesn't sell. Bullshit. Boxing fans like myself, we don't want to hear it, especially when we know this fight can be made by just people getting rid of their egos. And it starts with the fighters. Shout out to Earl Spence Jr. for being a real throwback fighter, putting on one of the best fights of this era with Terrence Bud Crawford, putting it all on the line. Really lost nothing outside of the belts. You feel me? These guys are not of that caliber. Vergil or Boots. I'm just going to set the record straight. I ain't going to spend too much time on it. Vergil, yes, magnificent as of now at the 154 division, junior middleweight division. A lot of opponents up there have to definitely go through that gauntlet. But Vergil, he's in the skipping steps. He's calling out Terrence Bud Crawford. If you don't believe me, let me hear you. Let me give you a little bit of some content, shall we?
I don't care who it is. If he's next, if he's confident, if he's still willing to do it, that's a fight that
Crawford next. It could be Boots.
and we're just gonna keep doing what.
Shout out to Fire Up for the audio. Now, that's Vergil Ortiz after being victorious post-fight, basically letting it be known it could be anybody. He has options. He preferred Terrence Bud Crawford, if willing, but Boots can get it. Sebastian, he never said Sebastian. Nobody want to say Bakram. No, nobody want to say Bakram. No, Bakram. No. Another title holder in the division. But that's what we get. So, Rumorsville, as we get out of here, shout out to y'all. Got to wrap this up. Got to handle some things. Now we have Vergil Ortiz Sr. insinuating that Vergil has a hand injury. Don't know how, unless he did it against Lubin's chin, because he was in there less than 6 minutes. But he re-injured his hand, the same injuries that occurred when he was in the welterweight division. Yada. Y'all know how this goes. So, for more, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button on the way out of here. Y'all know the slogan. Stay activated at all times, man. Keep family first, and we up out of here. Boxing fans, till next time. Deuces.